It's really unfortunate there isn't more resistance. I think you will get more Congress people standing up, not just to the sanctions, but I think in the year or two ahead, you'll get some people who will take it seriously. Right now, they just don't care because it's not an electoral issue for them, except in the sense that there's pressure from the far right.
And it's this seismic shift, this movement that the corporations and their US allies detest. They detest the loss of control, the diminution of their role as kingmaker, directing and controlling operations in their backyard. They hate the fact that the people are in control and not them. The fact that democracy has provided a result that they don't like and they have not fixed. And one person said something to me that struck me I don't know why it struck me so much, it shouldn't have, but it did. And he said, if you give the poor something to vote for, they will turn out in huge numbers, and they have in Venezuela, and that's a lesson for us here as well. Thank you.
Who wins with violence? Clearly, it's not the government, but the opposition. The attacks had been launched against public buildings, public universities, health centers, and ministries. These acts were intended to sow terror, hatred, and social fragmentation, and to mislead global public opinion by attributing falsely violence to the government. Foreign mercenaries had been captured, and arms had been confiscated. And all this left little doubt as the existence of a plan intended to trigger violence and mainly to encourage and bring about a foreign intervention, a new spring.
As I say, there's no doubt whatever about the scale of United States and foreign intervention in Venezuela. The evidence is voluminous. From the time of the 2002 coup to the $100 million estimated of funding for the Venezuelan opposition in all its forms, the so-called democracy transition initiatives, then the WikiLeaks cable, which showed the US ambassador to Venezuela planning the campaign to, in his own words, penetrate, isolate, and divide the Venezuelan government. And it's now its open support for an attempt to overthrow the government.
The only country in the world that has been unequivocal in supporting the extremists in Venezuela has been the United States. No other governments have been so clear about it. Every time there was a possibility, some kind of coming to terms, some kind of dialogue, some kind of possibility of agreement, when things went down, the United States will make statements encouraging the opposition to continue with their violence.
Some forces within the opposition had no confidence in their ability to secure a future majority. So they're violently attempting to provoke a coup or an intervention against the elected government. Of course, these opposition supporters are aware of how US imperialism is promoting this type of regime change.
And what really makes the Venezuelan right and the international right angry is that actually these protests have very little traction in Venezuela itself. And I think what I really want to say, more than anything else, is that the reason that the right really dislike Venezuela in this country, in Venezuela and in the US, is because they cannot stand the fact that in that country there are free, democratic, frequent elections, and people keep choosing socialism.
Now, we have to do Venezuela nos necesita y el intento de caos, de desestabilización y de violencia que se está creando la derecha y la oligarquía venezolana solamente obedecen a un intento de derrocar ilegítimamente a Nicolás Maduro. Y la derecha antidemocrática venezolana intenta obtener con la violencia lo que no ha podido obtener en las urnas en diciembre. En definitiva, con el apoyo de los Estados Unidos intentan que Nicolás Maduro no sea lo que ha sido Chávez para su pueblo.
Countries like America believe that their voice is the strongest because of their influence on the world. Again, the parallel is Venezuela is an oil-rich country. Of course America are going to be looking there to try and destabilise the situation. Look at what happened in Iraq. That's one of the main reasons why the attack on Iraq happened. And we are not foolish enough to not understand that that's why they want destabilisation to happen in Venezuela right now. They want this very situation.
Currently, something more than $5 million is in the current US budget to support their activities. And it is not only financially that they support and encourage the violent activities of this small group of opposition in Venezuela, but it is also by statements like John Kerry and others in the American government that actually they feel like they're doing the right thing when anytime that Kerry says that sanctions will be imposed on Venezuela or that Venezuela is engaging in terror when it's actually the other way around. But in any case, the effect is that they feel like they have a green light to continue carrying those actions.
Queremos un futuro mejor, queremos la revolución latinoamericana y que para esto es fundamental, hoy más que nunca, la solidaridad beligerante de estos pueblos de Europa.
So we now get this obsessive reporting of every dissident group and demonstration that takes place in Venezuela. They have a right to demonstrate, they have a right to dissent. That is what a democracy is about. But please, 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 Mr. and Mrs. Media, put it in a sense of perspective of what is actually happening, who is funding these people, and who they actually are.